Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY farmhouse buffalo check mason jars. This is the pink one. We're going to do a whole series this week and I'm going to teach you 6 different ways to paint these in the upcoming next few days. We're going to start with Kerr pine size mason jars. That's what we're using for all of these. They have regular mouths. For this particular technique, we're going to use white spray paint from Walmart. This is 97 cents a can, plus some apple barrel paint as well. This is white, and we're going to use the red because we're making pink. So when red and white is pink. And then we're going to use some painter's tape for this technique. But don't worry, we have lots of techniques coming that have nothing to do with taping, I promise. We're also going to use some of the homemade chalk paint that we used, just to give that more of a farmhouse feel. Now we're going to give these jars a quick coat. I'm going to just spray paint 2 of them at a time for another technique for tomorrow or the next day. I'm just doing 1 coat on here, but I will show you that you definitely need 2. We're gonna basically going to show you not only what to do, but what not to do. Okay, this paint is not made for glass. I mean, it's just all-purpose paint. It's not specifically made for glass. So as I tape it, it's going to come off with the tape. So I just put it down as a base coat because sometimes when you water down your paint too much, it can become translucent. So what I like to do is put the white coat underneath it, just to prevent light from coming through whatever paint I might paint. Okay, and for this technique, we're going to use the traditional taped mason jar technique. What we're going to do basically is we're going to use, this is painter's tape. This is not 1 inch wide, even though it says it is. It's a little bit more than 1 inch wide because it didn't fit perfectly around like the 1 inch measurements did. And you'll see that in the next week coming, as the tutorials go on. But what we're doing is we just ripped off a little piece of tape so we could use that as a spacer between the rows. But then I'm going to end up just basically spreading them out more evenly, moving the tape along more evenly so we can get an even number of stripes. It's important that you want an even number of stripes going around the jar. If you have an odd number of stripes, then you'll end up butting up 2 pieces of tape next to each other, and you'll have a section that's twice as wide instead of what we look for the uniform stripes. Okay. Now once I have that all figured out, I'm going to go ahead and this is where I'm adjusting. When you press down your tape, you want to make sure you really press down your edges really well. And then when you're around your words, you have to be a little bit more delicate. I pull up the tape and then I rub the words as I'm pushing the tape down. What this does is it really gives a good adhesion around the raised letters. Okay, and the same thing with the neck at the top. You want to peel it back. You want to make sure you take your finger and you go up and down the area. Now I'm using paint that we're mixing. This is just our chalk paint that we used. We're just adding a little bit of red to it to make pink. You want to make sure you make enough to do your horizontal and your vertical stripes. So that's why I'm mixing it in the cover of a mason jar, and I use these are the mini mason jars that had candles in them from the Dollar Tree. What I do is I mix the paint in the lid and then I screw the top back on. I screw the jar on the top to keep it fresh. But what I did was I took a fair bit of white. I added red a couple of drops at a time until I got the color that I wanted. And you want this pink to be your mid-tone. So the jars will have white, a mid-tone pink, and a dark pink. So you want to paint your stripes in your mid-tone pink. Just like when we did black and white and gray, this would be the gray stripes. Okay? So we're going to go 2 coats. But what's really great about the paint with the chalk in it, the chalk paint that we make, that it dries very, very quickly. And actually, by the time we got back around to the first stripe, it was dry enough to receive its second coat. Okay? Now I'm making sure that I dab around the neck. I'm doing that because if you drag across the bumps of the neck of the bottle, the threads, then you'll leave pools of paint there. So we're just using like a stippling technique to get up around the neck area. Okay. Now you'll see once I'm peeling it, the some of the paint is coming off. There's a couple of reasons that happened. I didn't prime my jar. I only used one coat of paint, and I didn't wait for it to cure. You should really wait for it to cure 48 hours before you tape on it. But I didn't do any of those things. But I wanted to show you what would happen and how to recover from it. Because not everybody has the patience to wait 48 hours for paint to dry. Okay? So you'll see that some of the spots the paint was removed, but some of the spots this still has paint, but it won't be objectionable in the end. You'll see. All right? So the next day, once this is dry, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to use that same spacing technique to measure the horizontal stripes. Now, the horizontal stripes on this kind of jar is a little tricky because it wants to bend around the bottom and it wants to bend around the top. So you have to really be careful to not go with the bend of the jar. We're just going to basically tape what we're going to paint up against. And we're going to try to keep the tape straight up and down so that we make an even circle around the outside. Like I said, if the taping method is not for you, then don't worry, we have lots of other much easier methods coming. But I wanted to just share this with you because some people do really want that precision straight cut line that you get only with the taping. Okay? So I wanted to make sure I showed everybody just how to do it technique-wise. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to the finished product, I ran out of tape. It just took a whole roll of tape just to do this one little jar, and I didn't even quite finish it. But you just continue those steps again to fill out the squares that you'll paint in with the dark shade, okay? So now we're going to paint the horizontal stripes, and what I'm just doing is I'm just painting in the areas that are not painted yet, that are just painted white. Just because I don't want double fat layers of paint across the whole bottom stripe. I think you can see that there, and I'm using a little bit of a pounce method just to get a little bit of extra coverage on it. But I'm just going in, so then once we remove the tape, we'll just have one layer of all of the pink not checkerboard, but the plaid. Okay? And now when it comes to removing painter's tape with acrylic paint, latex paint, you really want to do it while the paint is still a little wet. You will have to be careful when you do this, but if you don't, you risk the paint drying on the tape and pulling away from the jar when you remove the tape. Okay. So now we're just going to set that off to dry. This is again the next day. This is a multi-day project, which is why it's been coming for such a long time. So what I'm doing now is I'm adding more red to my pink to create a darker shade. Now, if you always use white and you always use the same color red, you will always get matching colors. You just keep making it as dark as you want or as light as you want using the amounts of paint that you put into it, okay? But it'll always coordinate because it's the same color, just different shades of that color. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm actually just freehanding wherever the two pinks would intersect. That would be the dark area. If you did want to paint this, if you did want to tape this off, you would just take tape over every place that you haven't taped yet. You basically would tape over the horizontal lines that create that clear stripe, and the same thing with the vertical lines that wherever the clear stripers, you just would cover those. And then wherever like I said, wherever the two horizontal and vertical lines intersect, that's what gets a dark pink square. Okay, so as you can see, I switched from a foam brush to this flat brush here because I felt like the foam brush was a little too big and I was getting a little bit better control with this brush. But this has a chiseled edge and it's straight flat brush, so it gives you nice straight lines. And I zoomed in there so that you can kind of see the tape marks, kind of create like a ridge of where you or can color in with the dark pink. Okay, so that's what that was. And then once you have all of that done, you have all of your sections. Don't forget to do about your neck, okay? Because sometimes, you know, the pattern would continue up the neck, depending on how you taped it, of course. Okay, and then once you have all of your dark pink sections done, then we're going to go back over the white. Now this is an option when you see the orange jar tomorrow. We did not go back over the white, so you will see how it looks when it's not finished. But with this one, with the taping, I wanted to go back over the white with the white chalk paint. Okay, so this is the homemade white chalk paint. I've just taken the same brush, I've cleaned it, and I'm just going to fill in wherever the white squares should be. And that's it. It's super simple. Now, I haven't finished a project with these jars yet. I am just finished the six jars. But stay tuned to my channel for around closer to Easter, after St. Patrick's Day, when we'll go ahead and dress these for spring. Okay? I think they came out really super cute, and I was kind of really excited how they came out. I know I'm such a geek, right? But this this 6 episode series is just about the different painting techniques, and I'm just going to show you the 6 different colors, and how to mix them, because some of them are primary colors, but some of them are tertiary colors and secondary colors. So I'll show you how to do all of that different to test the value of paint and how to mix it there. Okay, and that's it. So here is pink. Pink is done. Pink was taping method. I hope you really liked it. I did not distress this one. That is an option we're going to show in a couple of days. So I hope you really like this tutorial. If you do, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to stay tuned for all of these tutorials coming this week. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. When you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And don't forget to check over onto the vlog channel. The link is in the description box down below. We have lots of fun over there a few times during the week as well. And don't forget to share with friends and family, anybody you know might be interested in learning all of these techniques or making mason jars into beautiful buffalo checked spring colors. Okay? As always, you take care. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Bye.